Ah, my. Hello, lovebirds. Tanya TKO here. And as you see, they're back. No, I'm just joking. It's back. ManDay is here. ManDay is the day after Sunday and before Tuesday. And for the rest of the world, it's Monday. But on the Tanya TKO show, it's ManDay, where we talk about topics that are written in or in response to the letters that I get from men and from different topics that benefit men in navigating through the whole mystery that is woman. And so I want to get right into today's video. I'm going to talk briefly about why ManDay is back, because I know, number one, I know that even though these videos are geared towards men, that there are women who watch the video. So I'm going to start off with a little message to the women about ManDay's resurfacing and why and how. We'll talk about that in a second, but today's video is about how to get more girls. Sometimes I watch these videos from the male pickup artists. You know, there's this whole, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. There's this whole community called, like there's a pickup artist community where there are these master pickup artists that, according to what they know, have learned to navigate the female mind, and they use this to be able to get multiple dates with women. Now, there are different tiers of the pickup artist community, and I would have to say that the pickup artists who have been in the game for some time, who have respect and care for women, actually are pretty on point with the stuff that they're saying. But there's some things about how women think and feel, because you know what, listen, male logic and female logic are very different, you know, and there are just certain things about the female experience that I think it's hard for men to understand. We're going to talk about some of those things in today's video. First, let me talk to the ladies. I know I could say men tune out for this, but I know that you won't. This may be startling to some men, but I wanted to just give this message to some women. As you know, ManDay left for a few weeks because I wasn't getting the letters, and like, men were just watching, but they weren't asking questions and they weren't really interacting. There were people who were attacking me and they weren't really saying anything. So I decided to stop ManDay. And when I stopped ManDay, that's when the letters started to pour in, and I started to get a plethora, an abundance of letters behind the scenes, both on YouTube, on Facebook, and on my personal website. And it was humbling. The outpour was humbling. But I wanted to talk to women real quick, just so ladies don't nag men. If your guy or man in your life is doing something that you don't like, you know, I've said this statement before, let your absence speak volumes. Personally, you know, I said that there's a difference between male logic and female logic. Me, I like to do what works, and nagging does not work. Men are, I need to do a whole video about this, about how to get men to do what you want them to do, right? Because men are men, you know, and you nagging them is not going to get them to do what you want them to do. So just let your absence speak volumes. And you have to let men self-correct, and you have to have enough faith and enough esteem in what it is that you bring to the relationship to know that once you take yourself out of it, or you take yourself away from him, that he'll miss you and he'll come back. So and then, oh ladies, let me say this, because we are so very guilty of this. Once that man comes to you, because the key is you have to get him to come to you to want to talk. But once he comes to you and he tries to speak with you and he asks you what's the matter, for the love of Peter, goodness sakes, please tell him. That is the perfect time when you get him to come to you to want to talk. Oh my gosh. That's when you start talking. You tell him what's the matter. You know, so look, I'll just say this. You know what? Men are naturally hunters. So if you stay gone from the relationship and he does not come to get you back into the relationship, then he didn't really want you in a relationship to begin with, or he wasn't that serious. Or if you don't spark his natural inclinations as a man, you just find somebody who you do spark. And once you get into that relationship, it'll be an ongoing dance where once he starts doing stuff that you don't like, you pull back and let him come to you. Um, we'll talk more about that in an entire video, because this video, I don't want to be too long, but I had to make this video today because I'm going out of town. So those of you in Los Angeles, make sure you're on my website, TanyaTKO.com, and make sure you're on the mailing list so that you could get the information about how to meet me in Los Angeles. And I think in a little less than 2 weeks. So anyway, because I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. So I'd say maybe in a week. Yeah, in about a week. Oh, my phone, I got to turn it down. In about a week, I'm having a meetup in Los Angeles. So anyway, so let's talk about for the men. So now to your part. I'm sorry that we took so long in the beginning of the video, but it'll be well worth it. Listen to what I'm saying. How to get more girls. It's a numbers game. You know, this may sound like kind of like a conundrum, or a vicious cycle, but you get more girls by getting more girls. You have to meet more women. In order to get more girls, you have to meet more women. And I'm going to talk to you about the natural biological difference between men and women, something that men don't really get because they don't have vaginas. I have a vagina, so let me just tell you right now, sex is very complicated for a woman. For you guys, it seems very easy, but for a woman, it's very complicated. Let me get the board out. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna break it all the way down for you guys. All right, here we go. Okay. Oh, sex is very complicated for a woman. Let me see if I can turn this. Oh, I really hate. The light is going to focus itself. I don't care anymore. We just have to keep moving. Okay, sex is very complicated for a woman. Let me just say this. When you as a guy, when you have sex with a woman, you basically, now let's say this is a woman that you want to have sex with, somebody who's clean with no horrible stench in that area, so somebody that you would enjoy having intercourse with, right? You get to have intercourse with a virtually hairless person whose body is soft, and you get to enter into this person, and this person is, physically weaker than you, and most importantly, you enter, and then you go about your business, and you may even get social props as a result of this copulation, right? But from a woman's standpoint, right? Okay. With sex, whereas you guys get something very soft, we get something very hard. Oh, goodness. Not only that, men are hairy. Their bodies are either really muscular or very hard and bony. Oh, bony or hard or large. Men are 33% larger and stronger than women. So you get somebody bigger and stronger than you. And then not only that, this person, because of their strength and their size and the anatomy and etc., you guys pretty much control the sexual experience. And this is the sad part. You guys come faster. It's a lot easier for you guys to come. And this is a sad statistic. 70% of women have never had an orgasm. Never. So women are not climaxing from these unions. Not only that, because of the female anatomy being open, women are much more susceptible to disease. And not only disease, but pregnancy. And then not only, listen, not only pregnancy, but then the social stigma. Then we have social stigma. So whereas you guys are getting props, this woman is getting shamed and lambasted. And then the most complicated thing that no one can really see is oxytocin. Oxytocin is a binding chemical. Why does this look like a Q? Ugh, it's supposed to be an O. Oxytocin is a binding chemical that makes a person feel bound to their mate or to the person that they just had intercourse with. Oh, oh, I'm spilling. Okay. So oxytocin is a binding chemical that makes women feel, or makes people feel connected to, makes people just feel connected. Women produce this or secrete this hormone at a rate 5 times greater than that of men. And you know, it benefits women to secrete this because, oh, how do I put this? Evolutionarily, the women who did not secrete oxytocin did not feel bound to their offspring, and thus that gene pool was kind of wiped out, because when the women were not bound to the children would die. So therefore, most of the people in existence today are in existence because of women's oxytocin. The people who were able to propagate and move forward in evolution and in genealogy are the women who did produce oxytocin. So now, so oxytocin, it behooves the population, but unfortunately it makes that woman feel bound to that man. So sex is very complicated for a woman. You know, you have this large person with a hard part of their anatomy stabbing in and out of your body, and it can be painful. You know, some men have these beards and it's scraping all over you here and down there, with all this inside your area. Feels like a brush. Imagine a brush on your balls. Oh God. You know what? I need to do a whole video about oral sex. Just imagine. Please shave your beards. I was an unplanned segue. Please forgive me. Okay. So anyway, let's go forward. Let's go forward. So, you know, you have to kind of be cognizant of the sexual experience, you know, for a woman. If you think about it, the risk of pregnancy alone is enough to want to deter a person, because after the sexual encounter, yeah, okay, you could have miscellaneous intercourse if you want to, but if a woman has all this miscellaneous intercourse, who knows which one of those could be the one that fertilized an egg inside of her? You know, then you would never know. Like I ask men now, how many children do you have? And they're like, none. And I'm sure of that. Really, oh, those times on spring break, I mean, you never really know. I mean, you could really have children out there and just not know, but that woman would know, because she's the one who's left to have to pick up all of the pieces from that. So just, I don't know, just be cognizant. You know, it's very different for a woman, because, you know, with men, with men, it's because of men's biological function, like the difference between semen and ovum. You know, men have many, many millions of semen. Women have a finite number of eggs. So biologically speaking, there are certain things that just biologically govern us as people. And for men, you know, the biological inclination is to spread far and wide, but for women, it's quality over quantity. Get the best one for that one mating or that one person, etc. Um, One more thing that I definitely wanted to, or number 3, you have to, you know what, you have to get rid of fear. We're going to talk about this whole one vagina thing in a moment. You know, I was like, when I was watching these videos in the pickup artist community, I was really surprised as a woman to realize how much fear men have with approaching women. And you have to approach more women in order to be able to squelch that fear, to kind of quell it inside, you know. And then when we talk about the biological differences between women and men, you have to understand that a woman does only have one vagina. There's no benefit to a woman. Like, if she's not really climaxing, if she has the risk of disease, if the risk of pregnancy, of being hurt, of being attached to this person, of being hurt physically, because you have to remember, men are much larger than us, and we put ourselves in a very vulnerable position, with a person in the bed who's much stronger than us, has a penis that could be used as a weapon, arms that could hold us down, and any number of things could happen to the woman once she, relinquishes in that way. So you have to remember that there are less benefits to casual intercourse for women. So women have to be very selective about who it is that they let into their lives at that time. So one thing that I definitely want you to keep in mind, that you have to you have to kind of work. This is why I'm saying it's a numbers game, because you never really know when you approach a woman at which stage of her life she's at in terms of what it is that she's looking for. Is she just looking for fun? Is she looking for settling down? Is she not even looking for either one of those? Is she just looking into herself? So you have to just kind of, you have to continue to go out there and just get in the game. Just realize that when you get rejected, it's not personal. And you know what? And I'm so confused personally. I'm so confused by this fear men have of approaching women and, getting shot down and stuff. I mean, it's just a rejection. It's not personal, just means that that wasn't the right time for you or her or whatnot. And then also, you have to remember, this is when it gets complicated, because I think a lot of men, I think that the alignment is off, and I think the alignment is off, and I think that men are not being very selective about who it is that they're actually approaching and why. I understand. Okay, so women look good on the outside, and so you approach, but then you have to think about what it is that you want. Are you just looking for fun? Are you looking to settle down? Are you looking for more than that? If you're just looking for fun and she's just looking for fun, but she's not interested in having fun with you, that's not the right pair up. You have to think about who it is that you want in your life as well. You know what? I'm going to make this really quick segue. Do you know why I dress like this in the ManDay videos? Do you know? Just think about it. Take a wild guess. Why? I dress like this because I want to help you guys understand that women we're just women. You know, um, no matter who the woman is, she still defecates, she still farts, she still goes to the bathroom, she still bleeds every month. Well, especially if she's a woman, she bleeds every month. Well, if she's in the fertile range or whatnot. But I dress like this to distract you guys. That's one, to distract you and to force you to concentrate and to force you to get used to it. I'm a woman. I have breasts. I have a waist. I have hips, and I have back. I do, because I'm a woman. Get used to it. Get used to this beauty that women have. And I understand, it can be so alluring and so tempting or whatnot. But I dress like this so that you'll get to know and get to understand. Because you see, in most of my other videos, my breasts are hidden and I'm not all dolled and glammed up. I mean, you guys have seen me in the park walking around with no makeup, my eyes watering, looking crazy in the morning. Because there's so many different sides of a woman. So when you go to approach a woman, realize that no matter what it is that she's looking like right now, she's still just a woman. She's a human being. She's a person. Not only that, she's softer than you too. And I can understand the pain that could be associated with being rejected by somebody softer than you, who you just want to just put your little fingers on. I understand that. But you have to listen, think about it from a woman's point of view. Number one, you're approaching a person who is smaller, softer, weaker, and much more feminine than you, and you get rejected. I mean, at least you were rejected by someone smaller than you who couldn't hurt you. I don't know. Listen, look, think about it from a woman's point of view. I was rejected by, I've been rejected by men I've approached before. I was at this, I was what? I just got out of college. I must have been about 21. So I was young too. Young and perfect in every way. You see how wonderful I am now? Oh. I was young and I was so fresh and doughy. And I was at this party. A friend of mine was a Kappa, and you know how Kappas are the pretty boys, so there's so many cuties at the party. And you know how I like them with the big old muscles and everything. You know that's what I like. So then, anyway, so I saw this guy, and he was so handsome, and so I went up to him, and I was like trying to dance with him, and he was like, "No," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, I didn't understand. I didn't know what he was talking about. And he was like, he told me to get away from him. And I was like, oh snap. And he was like, he was huge, all these big old huge muscles. And he like put his arm up to like back me away from him because I was just like dancing, and he put his arm up, this big old strong muscular arm, he put it up, and I was like, oh, shit in my mind. This is what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh snap. That was so embarrassing because it was a house party too, right? And then like I sauntered off or whatever, you know, because it was actually scary. It was to me it was scary because he was so much larger than me, because he was so, you know, had all this testosterone and everything. But then I realized he was there with a girl, right? And apparently his girl was no joke, and I guess he would have never heard the end of it if we had been dancing together. Like I said, I was young and fresh. So I mean, you know, we listen. You have to find a way to swallow that fear, because when you approach a woman, this is why you have to just continue to approach women. You just have to continue to approach them. You have to just become comfortable with talking with strangers, you know, and keep it casual. See if there's any connection, you know. Ask about ask about, just make yourself comfortable. Force yourself to talk to strangers, not just women, but men also. Just force yourself to become used to carrying on conversations with people. Start up conversations about, you know what, I read this book, and what was the name of the book was, I let me go grab the book real quick. I'm going to show you guys. Okay, and I'm back. This is the name of the book. It's called How to Talk to Anyone, 92 Little Tricks for Big Success in Relationships. And it's by Leo Loundish. You'll see that. I'll put the links below, and I'll also put that in my TKO pick section of my website. If you go to TanyaTKO.com, you'll see a direct link for it there. So in this book, and you know what, and listen, I've been traveling for quite some time, and I travel by myself. So I read this book, and I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that these were techniques, because these are things that I just do naturally and normally. Because, you know, when you travel, if you're traveling alone, you have to be outgoing, and you have to put yourself out there. And even though that guy strong-armed me at the party, I still, you know, go and approach men to dance with them if I feel like it. You know, for the most part, you know, men are receptive, you know, because I think the dynamic between men and women is very different, because for men, you know, with the whole numbers thing with men are very accommodating, but women are a lot more selective. And it's because of the biological difference, you know, with our vaginas and the social stigma and eggs and all of that stuff about evolutionary biology. But what I'm saying is, you have to make yourself become accustomed and familiar and comfortable with talking to different people about different things. Read this book. It'll give you some tips and tricks about how to approach people to talk about nothing. And once you become comfortable once you get your confidence up to talk to people, or anybody, you know, men, women, old ladies, old men, anybody. Once you become comfortable, you'll be more comfortable in your skin. Because when you approach a woman with fear, you know how men are naturally hunters or whatever. Women are naturally just very intuitive. And when you approach a woman with fear dripping all off of you, you know, it is repellent. because you make her fearful, because listen, what you think about yourself is what other people will think about you too. And if you think that you're not worthy, other people will think that you're not worthy as well. If you approach this woman and you, let me see how I put it, because I put this in my note. Okay, your body language. What you think of yourself determines what women will think of you. There'll be something about the way you'll be like, you see the way my arms are constricted, tight in on my body? If I was like this, hi, lovebirds, and I was talking a little low, you guys would be like, oh, this is not a woman who's comfortable in her skin. But, with my arms wide out and my chin up in the air, you guys can feel that I'm confident. If I'm like this, don't I look cute like that? I do. But what about like this? If I was like, looking around and stuff, when you start exhibiting nervous behavior, when your body language is nervous, you make that woman nervous, and instantaneously you repel her, because a woman is looking for the best that she can get, whether it's for sex or settling down or whatever. And this is why confident men, let me tell you, there was a guy who approached me on the I took the bus up to the Bronx. It's a long ride, and traffic on the weekends is crazy. So I didn't take the bus to the Bronx. I took the train up to the Bronx, and I took a bus to get where I was going. When I was on the bus, this guy, he was like, excuse me, are you from, number one, I had in my headphones, I was listening to some spiritual recordings, and he's like, oh, you from Jamaica? And I was like, no, I'm not from Jamaica. He said, oh, because, you look like this girl that me knew from back home, and, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, that's not me. And I'm like, yeah, I hate when that happens. And I'm, so embarrassed, when the person is not that person. And he was like, he gave this look like that was just a line that he was using to speak to me. Then he was like, oh, can he get my number and all this other stuff, or stay in touch and all this other stuff. And I'm like, number one, this is a problem. And this, gosh, you know what? Number one, there was no rapport. God, there was no, we had no, I'm just supposed to give some random man on the bus with constricted shoulders and some just floppy eye contact, my number. For I wouldn't really understand what's the reason why I would be giving him my number. Why would I give him that personal access to me? And this man knows nothing. Then he started to push. He was like, so I told him, I told him, I said, I'm not interested in that right now. I'm concentrating on bettering myself as a human being, and that's where all my focus is right now. And then so he's like, oh, why can't we be friends? This, that, and the other, and the blah, 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 blah. Oh, he asked me if I was married, and I just, oh God, I was so exasperating, because I'm like, for me, and as you can imagine, I get approached a lot, no matter what I look like, whether I have on this or sweatpants. Yes, I had on a huge sweatshirt and some running pants and stuff, and he approached me. And it's not so much what it is that I had on, because I get approached by men and women. I get approached by people all the time because I'm congenial, and I think people can feel that. But nonetheless, what he did that was wrong, and what I would really love for you guys not to do, is to not, it's like, you know how like some of these like horny puppies come up to you, they sniff your leg, and then the next thing you know, they're like humping on your leg, and it's like it goes from 0 to 60, and it's like, and it's like I could feel, because there was no smooth sailing, there was no conversation, there was nothing that we had in common. The only thing we had was that he was attracted to what it was that he saw, and apparently he didn't care whether or not I was attracted to, if a woman gives you some friction about taking it to the next step, perhaps she's not attracted to you. Pushing only depletes your own power and your own worth. You know, there was a guy, you know what, I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, how there were a lot of men who were writing to me for advice. There was one particular guy who wrote in the comments of my video, and he was like, oh God, I want to talk about two different men real quick. But this one guy was like, oh, he doesn't feel the need to join classes or, you know, meetups and all this other stuff to meet women because he feels that that's disingenuous if he's just going there to meet women. Hold on. That is the perfect thing for you to do. It's like, oh, listen, you, that is the, I don't know how to describe this. That is the perfect, it can't get more perfect than that. Put yourself in a situation with people who you have stuff in common with, who you have something to talk about. Besides, oh, how do you like the weather? Let me put my penis in you. You know, it's like, no. You have to put yourself into, that is the perfect thing to do. And what's even better is if you join classes that are interests that you have. That's perfect, because not only do you meet a woman who has the same similar interests as you do, similar hobbies or whatnot. This frustrates me about men. God. Let me calm down. It frustrates me about men that men don't. God, and you know what? I see this in my family. I see this among my friends. I see this with people who write into me. God, men, you're not qualifying your women. This is why I dress like this. Because every woman has boobs. Every woman has women are naturally much more fattier than men because of estrogen and progesterone, the female hormones that make us women, make us retain water and keep us soft. That's just a part of hormonal assignment. Women have breasts. Okay, get over that. But what else is it about this woman that she needs to have in order to be a good match for you? You know what I want you guys to do? I really need you guys to look up. I did a video, the 1 to 10 mate must-haves. Men, it is imperative that you qualify your women with needing to have more than just boobs, waist, hips, or slim body, or long hair. This isn't even my hair. It's a wig. So I'm saying, God, look at that video, the 1 to 10 steps. And I need to come off of this video because this video, I stopped it, so I don't know how long I've been recording now, because it says I've been recording for 9 minutes, because when I came back with the book. So, God, you know what? I hope I impressed my point upon you guys. I really don't want to leave on a negative note. I need you guys to qualify your women with more than just what it is that she looks on the outside. Join some activities, some cooking classes, some stuff that appeals to you as a human being. Don't just go into classes, you know, taking up, you know, patchwork 101 or quilt making 101 because you want to go meet some women there because you know there's going to be lots of girls there. What do you call that thing? Embroidery? Don't go taking up some stitching embroidery class because you know there's going to be lots of girlies there. Take up some classes that are part of your interest as a human being. Not only do you enrich yourself, not only will you come into contact with women, but you'll come into contact with other men too. Just broaden your circle. These other men may invite you to parties or barbecues or go hang out or whatever, where there'll be other women that they can introduce you to. It's so much easier when you have an in. Use commonalities as an in, because women's defenses and guards are already up. You know, my defense and my guard is already up because I'm like, I don't want these men trying to slap their balls against my back. You know, it's like, I don't want that. I just want to go off and live my life in peace. You know, so when I'm walking in the street, my defenses are up already because I'm like, number one, I'm in New York. It's a big, bad world out here. First of all, men are much larger and stronger than I am. I always have to be on guard. I got to watch my back. I got to look over my shoulder. I have to wonder who's trying to get me, who wants to snatch my purse, who wants to slap me on my ass and run, who wants to, you know, splash beer on me. Or maybe that's at the party, but I'm going too far. But what I'm saying is... What I'm saying is, on the street, women's defenses are up because I only have one vagina. And I don't know these people out on the street. I don't trust them. I don't know them. There's a lot going on out there. I don't know what your disease status is, your marital status. I don't know nobody that knows you. You know what I mean? There's no, number one, if you're in a class, that gives you some credibility because there's somebody over there who knows your registration information. Somebody has your credit card. Some other people have seen you and witnessed you. It gives you an in because you're safer that way. One of the people, this is the other person I wanted to talk about. Somebody wrote on my video, why is it that women don't like talking to men that are just randomly saying hello to them on the street? Would you advise your mother to just start saying hello to random men who's talking to her on the street, or your sister or your daughter? Would you tell your daughter, be nice to that strange man and say hello to him when he speaks to you? Come on. This is how women get followed. This is how women get harassed, because like some of these people don't take no for an answer. So rather than even talking at all, you just keep it moving. And so you have to understand the nature of the game. It's real out here. You're dealing with a segment of the population that is weaker and smaller and much more defenseless than you. If you were in a situation with a lot of different, if you would listen, let's say you were in let's say you were in a let's say you were in Atlanta, and a gay parade just happened to be happening that weekend. And all of these big, strong, muscular dude who wants to poke you in your butty hole with their penis are approaching you. How are you going to feel? You're going to be like, oh, let me carry on conversations with these miscellaneous men, even though I know that they want to bend me over and dry hump me. Maybe not that. maybe not that vulgar. But I'm saying, you have to think about the nature of what it's like to be smaller and weaker than the people who are constantly approaching you, and you know that what they want to do is just bone you, and all of the complications that come along with boning is just not an attractive or feasible prospect. So you know what? I don't want to end on a bad note, so I want to tell you guys this really quick story before I go. Those of you who are on my Facebook page, over the summer I was dating this guy I was dating this police officer, right? And so we stopped dating. It didn't work out. It didn't work out. So we stopped dating, and I could, I'm very intuitive. You know how you think about somebody and then they call or you see them or whatever. So I'm intuitive, so I could feel him thinking about me sometimes, from time to time, because we stopped speaking in December. So from then till now, I could feel him thinking about me from time to time. So I knew why I knew our relationship, it fizzled. Nonetheless, right? Nonetheless. I decided to reach out to him over the weekend, right? Just to tell him a quick hello or whatnot. Because, just because we're not dating anymore doesn't mean that we shouldn't speak. We don't have beef or whatever. So, I just extended, a hello to him, and he wrote me back. And, we talked for a little while. And that was it. But he said something which I thought was really funny. Oh my God, this had me rolling. And I wanted to write back to him, but I couldn't because I was laughing so hard. In my spirit, I was just laughing. Because he told me, he was he said that he had wanted to write to me and call me several times. Right? And and I could feel this. And he was he wanted to write to me and call me, text me or call me several times. A lot actually, but he said that he was afraid, he didn't want to make me mad or whatnot by reaching out to me. And I was like, I laughed and laughed so hard. I'm glad he didn't say this to me on the phone. He texted this to me, and I laughed so hard. And you know why I was laughing? I'm laughing because, okay, number one, he's a man. That's number one. Number one, he's a man. Number two, he has a gun. He's a gun, a bulletproof vest, a state-issued posse, and he stands on these corners in the worst neighborhoods you could think of the Bronx, putting himself in all types of harm's way. Oh, I shouldn't have said where where he's stationed at. But he puts himself in all this harm's way, right? With people who want to kill him, people who would want to stab him, shoot him in the head, or do any number of things to him. He does this for a living. Yet, behind the scenes, he's afraid of rejection from me in text. Like, this is it's so funny to me. It's so perplexing because I'm like, how can he be afraid of what a girl is gonna say to him in text? Like, that's so much worse than standing on a corner with muggers, robbers, drug dealers, and killers. So I'm like, Ben, please. Sorry, my skirt was riding up. I'm like, men, please, you have to really get over this fear, because I'm just a girl. What's the worst that I could say to him in text? You know, like, screw you, or I hate you, or, I mean, what's the worst bit of text message? You know, that, so I don't know. So you know what? The only thing I can say is, women, if there are any women who made it to this end of the video, women, please be kind when you're rejecting men. Apparently, female rejection is very painful for men, apparently. Please be kind when you're rejecting them, you know, because I don't personally understand why it's so frightening. You know, if there's a man who can explain that to me, I would really love to know, because I find this hilarious. It's like, you're afraid of somebody smaller, weaker, and softer than you rejecting you. It's like, doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what pain or harm can a woman cause you by saying no? You just have to realize that you have to be, and you have to think about who it is that you are as a man. You know, increase your likelihood. We talked about in that video why women don't want you. Increase your likelihood of women wanting you and choosing you by being in shape, by having confidence, by all of those things that we talked about in that video. You know, if you're just interested in a woman who's interested in superficial things, what are the superficial things that you have? You know, it's like, if you just want superficial sex, what is it that you're bringing to the situation besides penis? The allure of penis is not enough. Do you have money to show and have a good time? I mean, if you just want to, you know, if you just want to have a good time, what else do you have besides the penis? That's not, unfortunately, biologically, that's not an even exchange. You know, you want a woman to put herself into a position where she has you perhaps pummeled in the inside of her body with your penis, and she may not even climax. What else is in it for her? She may get pregnant, disease, hurt, any number of things, and social stigma. What else is in it for her? Penis is not enough. It's not an even exchange, unless, of course, you're just so damn fine and gorgeous that penis is all she wants, or she has low self-esteem. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about putting women on pedestals. Number one reason you should not put a woman on a pedestal is because we're all human. We're all human. Hey, you guys know what I look like without my little bit of eyeliner and stuff on. You guys know. We're all human. You know what I look like first thing in the morning, 5 a.m. in the morning when I'm out there jogging. You know what I look like. So we're all human. Don't put women on pedestals. Don't. Just talk to people. Get the book. And, you know, get on the mailing list for my book. Lessons from a Motherless Child, 10 Most Crucial Secrets About Love, Sex, and Self-Esteem. I learned the hard way so that you don't have to. If you go over to my website, the link is right here. TanyaTKO.com. Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/TanyaTKO Show. Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram is at TanyaTKO. And that's Tanya with an O. That's right, TONYA. And so I will talk with you guys later. And I don't know, should I do an outfit of the day video? I might do an outfit of the day video for you guys. So look for that one on my website, TanyaTKO.com. I'll show you how I put together this ensemble. So Tanya TKO. And wait, we didn't hug. Oh, you know, since the resurgence of ManDay, I have to hug you guys, the resurgence. Hug me, hug me. Hug me, give me a hug. Oh, hug, 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 hug. Love, 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 love. Oh. That was nice, wasn't it? I enjoyed it. So listen, join me next week. I'm going to be in California, so I don't know how I'm going to do the ManDay from California, but if you have questions, please write me on my website, TanyaTKO.com. If you would like a one-on-one coaching session from me, just come over to TanyaTKO.com/coaching. And you can set up a half an hour or 1 hour coaching session, and I'll help you one-on-one, and I'll use my intuition to be able to connect with you, to be able to kind of find out what some of the issues are and be able to help you get some real solutions to that. So let me go, because this video is one of my longest for men, and you know I don't edit my videos. So Tanya TKO, and tell me what you think of my outfit. Do you like it? Is it pretty? I'll talk with you guys later. Peace.